Hello, everyone, and good evening. Thanks for joining us. My name is Judith Rolls, and I'm the Senior Associate Director for Alumni and Family Engagement here at Davidson College. I'm joined by my colleague, Carissa Claunch, who is our Digital Events Fellow, and we are thrilled to have the opportunity to welcome each of you for this back to school class featuring Jamie Stamey, our Director of Gift Planning, and JJ and Virginia Summerell, Class of 80. In a moment, we'll turn the program over to them for further introductions. But before we get started, just want to go over a few quick Zoom keeping items. First, everyone has been muted, and we do ask that you remain muted throughout the event. That will help any distractions or background noise so we can hear all of our presenters and the great information they're sharing. If you're comfortable with it and you haven't already, you can change your Zoom name to your first and last name. You can rename yourself by clicking participants at the bottom of your screen and then kind of hovering your mouse over your name and clicking the more or ellipsis, which is the three dots button. And if you have a class year, you can add that too. If you have questions for the presenters, we do have the Q&A function enabled. The presenters will not be monitoring the Q&A during the call itself. They are going to do their best to answer questions as best as possible at the end. And I think also there's a few moments during the presentation where there'll also be opportunities for questions. The chat feature is not enabled during this call. If you have any technical or other issues, you can post them in the Q&A function and our staff will be watching that during the call. We have enabled the live auto transcription for this call. If you'd like to enable it on your end, you can click the show closed caption or CC button on your screen and subtitles should appear. Please note that the captions are not always accurate, so we just ask for your grace. And now for our program. I am super excited to introduce to you the first speaker of the evening, which is Jamie Stamey. After almost 10 years serving in the Matthews Center for Career Development, Jamie moved into the Director of Gift Planning role in 2024. Working alongside gift officers, Jamie supports donors with estate gift planning and all the crazy non-cash gifts like IRAs, real estate, and more. I'm now honored to turn the program over to Jamie, who will get us started. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you, Judith. I appreciate the introduction. I'm just making sure that my screen is shared here and we will get started. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hope you are all able to check out some of the other back to school sessions that are scheduled between now and Reunion 2025. There are some fascinating topics thanks to the work of Judith and our colleagues all across campus. So be sure to check some of those out. I want to jump right into our topic at hand for tonight, and that is giving through your estate. As advertised, I plan to make this a very beginner level introduction to estate gifts, which can be referred to sometimes as deferred gifts, planned gifts, or even legacy gifts. However you label them, we're mainly talking about those gifts that will pass to a charitable organization, such as Davidson, at the end of life. These gifts vary greatly in size, and many folks find it surprising how simple and impactful they can be. So here on this slide, we have a general overview of what we'll cover tonight. I'm going to focus on some of the most common types of estate gifts, including bequests through wills and living trusts, beneficiary designations, IRA gifts, and life income gifts. From there, we'll talk about how estate gifts can impact Davidson, what the process looks like, and the free resources that we have available to support you as you consider this form of philanthropy. As we go through our session, I'll periodically ask for questions, but at any time, feel free to pop it into the Q&A feature, as Judith already mentioned. I'll do my best to keep my eye on that as we go. And we'll also have time at the end to cover any questions that we don't get through. So we'll definitely have a good amount of time for questions today. So to get our wheels turning, we have invited a couple whom some of you may know that have graciously decided to support future Wildcats with an estate gift. JJ and Virginia Summerell are both Davidson class of 1980 and majored in economics. JJ grew up here in the area in Salisbury, North Carolina, and Virginia in Salem, Virginia. After Davidson, they both went on to get their MBAs from Wake Forest. JJ's career was in wholesale insurance sales and Virginia's in finance, first in banking and then with Tanger Outlet Centers. Now they are retired and continue to make their home in Greensboro, North Carolina. JJ and Virginia have 3 grown children who are all Davidson graduates as well from the classes of 2012, 2016, and 2017. We've asked Virginia and JJ to share a bit about why they chose to support Davidson in this way. So Virginia and JJ, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot,
We on?
Jamie. Yeah, we're on. I'm Virginia.
And I'm JJ.
And like Jamie said, we're class of 1980. We got to Davidson and obviously didn't know each other, but can't even remember meeting each other. It might have been in a basic math class, calculus class. Anyway, what we wanted to do tonight is talk about why Davidson and why Davidson for us, because what we did is probably the most simple part. We just put Davidson into our will. About 5 years ago, we were working on redoing our will. And one of the things we said is we wanted to include some of the organizations that were most impactful for us. Clearly that's Davidson, because we both went there. We've got lots of family members that went there. JJ, whole bunch of his family from way back when. I had 7 second cousins at Davidson when I got there. And then most importantly, our 3 children all went to Davidson. So now the pressure's on for the grandchildren to go to Davidson too. And we took the easy way and wanted to include Davidson in our estate planning.
And we both talked about it. We thought it was important to talk about the difference between giving money to a charity, and Davidson is not a charity if you define it in certain ways, and giving money to an important organization that will create charity. And Davidson is one of those. Without our donation, they're not going to go under. But with our donation, they could go above. And that's what we're thinking about.
So really, that's why we're here. We wanted to be a part of Davidson, both now and going forward. And we appreciate the opportunity to speak about it.
Great. Well, thank you, Virginia and JJ, for sharing that story with our group tonight. We are so grateful to have you as such engaged members of the Davidson family, and your giving is really an inspiration. And you say it was the easy way out, and we know for sure that this is not an easy decision. And so it means even more that you think of it that way. So thank you for joining us tonight. So now let's get started talking about some of the most common estate gifts and the benefits that you could see as a donor. So let's start off with bequests through wills and living trusts. A bequest is a gift of personal property given to an individual or charity upon one's passing. So this property can be anything from monetary, like cash or securities, to tangible personal property like artwork or antiques or even real estate. Bequests are legally articulated through a person's will or a living trust. And just to clarify the difference between those two, if these are new terms to you, a will is a set of instructions for after death, and a living trust is an account that is funded by a person's assets while they are still alive. So a will typically go through a probate process when the testator dies, but a living trust does not. So there can be some significant advantages to doing the living trust. And this is where speaking with an estate attorney or a tax advisor can be helpful in determining which is the best for you. So bequests are one of the most simple and well-known forms of planned giving. Since both wills and living trusts can be amended at any time, bequests are appealing because of the flexibility that they offer to donors as you go through different seasons of life. When speaking of monetary bequests, The gift can be for a specific dollar amount, a percentage of your estate, or the remainder of your estate after all provisions are met. So again, you have options in what this looks like. And now when we say bequests are simple to establish, we're talking about literally maybe just one small statement in your will or living trust. And here is an example. I give to trustees of Davidson College X property for its unrestricted charitable use and purpose. Now, this statement could look different if you have a specific use in mind, and we'll talk more about that later in the session about how you can make your impact with your legacy gift. There are multiple benefits of giving through a bequest. For one, these gifts can reduce the taxes your estate may be required to pay by lowering the overall value of your estate. And we expect to see, probably within the next year, that minimum amount of the estate tax of, this estate value that's currently being taxed. We're going to see that change. And probably significantly lower. So more people will be faced with estate taxes. Additionally, a gift of this nature truly creates a lasting legacy that will impact a charity like Davidson in significant ways. So I think it's safe to say that beneficiary designations are one of the most overlooked forms of giving through your estate. Consider these types of accounts: IRA and retirement plans, life insurance policies, donor advised funds, and commercial annuities all give you the option of designating specific beneficiaries. But especially with retirement and insurance policies and plans, most folks typically think about individuals, oftentimes family members, when they think of who will get the remainder of those funds upon their deaths. However, it is so simple to add a charitable organization like Davidson as a beneficiary. So for someone like myself at this stage of life, it's really hard for me to imagine being able to give a sizable outright gift. But when I think about the possibility of giving through my life insurance policy, it's not hard to imagine easily designating a portion to those nonprofits that I wish I could do more to support now. And the best part is I can change my mind at any time as the circumstances of my loved ones change throughout time. So again, this is a very simple gift to designate. Just contact your policy or plan administrator to request a change of beneficiary form. Many providers like TIAA, which is one of the providers that Davidson College uses, makes this really easy to do with just a few clicks online. You can either fill out the designations online and the percentage is there, or simply download the form that they have available for you. Now, there are a variety of benefits to this form of giving as well. When giving to a charity, the entire amount is gifted to that charity, so no taxes are withheld. Whereas if you were to make an individual the beneficiary, there will be tax implications for that person when they receive the funds. And just like with a bequest, it will reduce the value of your gross estate, so possibly helping to alleviate, again, those future estate taxes that may be applicable. So now let's move on to giving through your IRA. If you do not have an IRA, you might consider rolling funds over from a traditional retirement account like a 403B or a 401k to take advantage of the IRA charitable gift benefits. So again, something to speak with a tax advisor or financial advisor about to see if that is an option for your current retirement accounts. Of course, you'll want to consult that legal or tax advisor for those decisions. So in addition to assigning a charitable organization as a beneficiary of your IRA, like we were just talking about, You may also consider giving through this account during your lifetime for current use funds for your charitable organization. Giving in this way is often called an IRA charitable rollover. You might also hear the terms qualified charitable deduction, or QCD for short. You may distribute up to $108,000 per year from an IRA to qualified charities. Now that is per account. So if you and your partner have separate accounts, you can do that amount from each. So if you are looking at benefiting a single charitable organization or multiple charitable organizations, that's that cap that you can do on an annual basis. So with IRAs, we are talking about starting at the age of 70 and a half, which is when you can start taking from your IRA without penalty. For folks who are below 70 and a half, so I believe it's 59 and a half, you can take a withdrawal from the IRA without penalty if you are planning to give to a charity. However, you will see that as taxable income, because in that case, the funds are coming to you directly instead of to the charity, which we'll talk about in just a second. So if you are at least 70 and a half years old, a QCD can satisfy your required minimum distribution, or your RMD. Because the funds go directly to the organization, as opposed to you and then the organization, you will pay no income taxes on your gift. Additionally, the gift will reduce your annual income level. So that may help to lower your Medicare premiums and decrease the amount of Social Security that is subject to tax. With a QCD, you get the opportunity to enjoy seeing the difference that your gift will make during your lifetime. So this isn't that traditional planned gift like we're talking about with those others. This is something that would happen during your lifetime. Many organizations will provide regular reports on how your gift is impacting the organization. And sometimes you might even be involved and engaged with the members of the organization who are being impacted. So for example, with gifts to Davidson, depending on what you are choosing to support, you might get those regular scholarship reports. If you're contributing to scholarship funds, you might get to engage with the students or the faculty whom your gift are impacting. And so that can be a really meaningful experience that you might decide, I want to experience that during my lifetime versus waiting and doing this as an estate gift. Again, this is very simple to do. If you have check writing capabilities from your IRA, this might be as simple as just writing a check to the qualified charity. Otherwise, you can reach out to your preferred charity and ask for simple instructions for transferring funds from your IRA. And most organizations will accept these types of gifts and should have that information available very, very readily for you if that's something you're looking to do. So the last type of gift I want to cover tonight are called life income gifts. These get a little bit trickier than some of the things we've been talking about. But again, they are pretty straightforward. And that's where our Office of Gift Planning comes in to really help walk you through the technical aspects of these types of gifts. So life income gifts are those gifts that, quote, pay you back. All right, so we're going to focus on two specific types of life income gifts, and those are charitable gift annuities and charitable remainder trusts. So charitable gift annuities, or CGAs for short, are the more simple of the two that we're going to talk about tonight. And I say this because it does not require any legal involvement. Of course, we suggest that you talk things over with your legal advisors, your financial advisors. But in terms of actually establishing a CGA, legal involvement is not required. It is a simple contract between the donor and the issuing charitable organization. So in short, this is a very high level overview of what a CGA is, okay? But in short, a CGA offers guaranteed income for life to you and one other individual if you choose. And here's how it works. So you make your gift to, let's say, we'll use Davidson as the example here, to Davidson College. Based on your age and the other individual, if you choose to include someone else, we will determine an annual payout rate that is locked in for the remainder of your life. That gift is then invested by the college each year. And I will answer the question that comes up commonly, does it go into our endowment investment? No, it is not invested similar in the same way as our endowment. But the college's chief investment officer, Ray Jacobs, and his team do control how we are investing these funds. So it's a reliable investment strategy. So that gift is invested by the college, and each year you will receive a fixed annuity payment, and we can set that up for those payments to come quarterly, twice a year, once a year, however that works best for your schedule. When you pass, the funds that are remaining in that account are then given to the college and your gift is realized. So while you are distributing the funds now during your lifetime, the gift itself is not actually realized until you pass. And that's when the remainder of the funds come to the charitable organization. Because of our positive investment strategies here at Davidson, the residuum of these funds is often equal to, if not more than, the original amount that you funded the CGA with. Okay, so let's say you set up a $25,000 CGA. We'll give you some kind of projections. But what we see from our current CGA holders is that that $25,000 is very likely to be at that amount or even more when Davidson receives it. So even though you're receiving those annuity payments each year, that amount is likely still going to be what's going to come to Davidson. All right, here at Davidson, and this will differ from organization to organization, we do have a minimum of $25,000 to start a CGA. We also have a minimum age of 60 for the annuitants, the two people who will be receiving those payouts. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. So in theory, a charitable remainder trust is very similar to a CGA in that the donor continues to receive annual payments. In practice, though, of course, there are some differences. And so the charitable remainder trust is a little bit more complex than a charitable gift annuity. Since this is a trust that identifies a trustee, legal involvement is required, and therefore there are also more upfront costs to establishing a charitable remainder trust. Therefore, charitable remainder trusts are typically a better option for those folks with larger estates or planning to do a larger trust. I can answer now because this is a question that comes up frequently, is if Davidson will serve as the trustee of a charitable remainder trust. And the short answer to that is no, we won't. So you have the option to go through your own channels to set up that trust. However, we can also connect you. We utilize State Street Global Advisors for our charitable gift annuities. They will also work with our donors to establish charitable remainder trusts. You will just have to identify a different trustee. Davidson cannot do that. Okay, so additionally, with charitable remainder trusts, you can choose to do payments for life, or it's a maximum period of up to 20 years. You also have more flexibility in adding additional annuitants or payment recipients. So with a CGA, it's one other person. With a charitable remainder trust, you may choose, maybe you want to include your children in who those annuity recipients are. So you have a little bit more flexibility there. Now, there are two main types of charitable remainder trusts. There's the annuity trust, or the CRAT, you'll hear that referred to, or there's the unitrust, or the CRUT. The difference here is whether you choose fixed yearly payments through the annuity trust, or with the unitrust, you would see variable yearly payments based on the fair market value of the remainder trust from year to year. Okay, so that'll get evaluated from year to year. So at Davidson, something to keep in mind is we do require a minimum of 100,000 to fund a charitable remainder trust. Okay. So the benefits to both of these life income gifts are similar. With both, you may qualify for a charitable tax deduction of 30 to 60% of your adjusted gross income, depending on what assets you use to fund it. So these gifts can both be funded with cash or IRA QCDs, long-term appreciated assets like securities, or even real estate. All right, so you have multiple options to consider how you want to get these life income gifts established. When you fund, and just another benefit, if you choose to fund with long-term appreciated assets, like stock, for example, you can also potentially avoid capital gains taxes. So if you are thinking of how do you utilize those securities for philanthropic use, in addition to the other, the basic, sorry, my mind just went blank, the basic benefits of those, you also can possibly avoid those capital gains taxes. Okay, so I am going to pause here and see what questions we have, because those are the four main types of gifts I wanted to talk about. So we don't have any questions in the Q&A yet, but I am happy to invite folks, since it's a small group, if you'd like to just unmute and ask any questions, feel free to do that right now. I'll give you a few seconds to decide if you want to do a Q&A question or just unmute. No?
I think they're absorbing all the good information, Jamie.
No, that's totally fine. Hey, y'all, I worked with students for almost 20 years before I moved into this role. So I am quite used to the questions coming after presentation. So I will not be offended at all if there's not a lot of questions asked. But please, again, don't hesitate to pop those into the Q&A as we're going if something pops up. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and transition away from the technical aspects of giving through your estate and start focusing a little bit more on the why and the how. A gift from your estate represents great affirmation of the college's purpose and your commitment to that purpose. Now, I'm sure we are all familiar with the purpose of Davidson College, which is to assist students in developing humane instincts and disciplined and creative minds for lives of leadership and service. And your legacy gift will empower future Wildcats to lead and serve in an ever-changing world. As I mentioned previously, estate gifts impact Davidson in a variety of ways, depending on the type of gift you make. So monetary gifts being the most obvious, right? You might support a specific designation or fund that you are passionate about, like the Davidson Trust or a specific academic program, or maybe even a specific athletic team. Sometimes folks decide to make the gift for unrestricted purposes. When you go that route, you're allowing the college to decide how to best utilize the gift at the time that it comes in. So sometimes we might choose to fund a specific project, or we will say we will put that into the endowment or towards the Davidson Trust. So it could vary. Just again, it's at the discretion of the college and based on the needs at the time. Other times we may find that you want to establish an entirely new fund to fill a gap that is seen in the Davidson experience currently. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that process looks like. Gifts of tangible personal property and real estate can also have a meaningful impact. And trust me, we have seen all manner of gifts. So you really can't surprise us when you're considering, those things that you own and you're considering a potential gift to an organization like Davidson or another nonprofit. We've seen it all, right? So come at us with whatever you're thinking. It's always fun to kind of see, as Judith mentioned in my intro, kind of those crazy non-cash gifts. You never know what's going to come. Sometimes the donor's intent with these is for the gift to remain on campus. So just an example of that, gifts of art. They enhance our collection for the enjoyment of our students, employees, and campus visitors. Other times, donors understand that the college will sell the property and the funds can then be designated to a preferred area, just like if you were giving a monetary gift. All right. So you still have a lot of options when you are giving a gift on where you want to see your impact. What are those things that you are passionate about? And including Davidson in your legacy. And you would comment at some point, my apologies. Including Davidson in your legacy allows us to really look to the future and know that we can continue to offer this really robust academic experience for generations to come. So documenting your estate gift, once you have made your decision to include Davidson in your estate plan, we surely appreciate you sharing some very basic information with us when you are ready to do so. When you document your estate gift, it allows us to understand how you would like your legacy to impact Davidson College. It allows us to steward you appropriately throughout your lifetime and also helps us to financially prepare for the future. Now, you do not have to have a firm decision on how you want your gift to be used when you document your gift. My Office of Gift Planning and all of our gift officers can support you in learning about programming, plans, and needs all across campus that fit with your areas of interest. So this is a process, and we have no expectation that we're going to just have a quick conversation with you about an estate gift and it'll be super simple. Sometimes it does happen that way. You know what you want. And other times, donors need to hear a little bit more. They need to learn a little bit more about the Davidson of today and what our biggest challenges are. What are the new things that we're focusing on and working on? And so our whole development team is here to support you in helping you get the information that you need to make that decision. So again, you can still document your gift before that decision is made. And we can move forward with stewarding you in the way that is reasonable for this major type of gift that you're giving us. We have a very simple process for documenting your estate gift. you can reach out to our office or any gift officer from the development team for a gift intention form. This is a very simple PDF form. You do not have to share copies of your legal documents at this time if you don't want to. We welcome that information, but it's not required, right, for you to get the gift credit. But it is helpful for us to have those in our records so that when the time comes for your gift to be actualized and realized, it will know who your points of contacts are, so that, if there are questions, we can reach out. And we also just know exactly how you want things to happen. Okay. There are a few additional perks to letting us know about your future estate gift as well. If you are an alum, planned gifts do count towards your reunion year class gift. So even if you are not in a reunion year, your gift will be counted in your next reunion year because we will count for the previous 5 years. And when you are in your 50th reunion year, we will count all planned gifts, regardless of when they were documented. Okay. So again, that's a great perk, maybe a little bit of an incentive for some of you who are coming up on a reunion year, but a great thing to think about. Additionally, when you document your estate gift, you will gain membership into the Phi and U Society, which includes invitations to some special events throughout the year. We produce biannual newsletter that share really fascinating stories about alums and students who are making an impact or who are being impacted by your gifts and more. So just another small way for us to show our appreciation for those folks who are giving in such a significant and meaningful way. So if this presentation has piqued your interest and you are looking for more information, we have some really great free resources available to you. So first and foremost, as I mentioned, any of our gift officers can help you get started. And I know many of you have folks in the development team that you've established relationships with over the years. Maybe they were even a classmate of yours. We have numerous alums in our area. Any person can help you get started. But specifically, myself and my colleague, Dawn Smith, we are here to specifically have these types of conversations with folks. So whether that's just asking questions, getting detailed information, we also have the capabilities of creating gift illustrations for you. So if you are considering a charitable gift annuity and you'd like to see what rates would you be looking at your age? What would a charitable deduction look like? If you're funding it with securities, what does that capital gains benefit look like? These are all things that Dawn and I can assist you with at any point in time. Excuse me. Our website also has a variety of free downloadable guides. And these are really wide ranging, from a simple guide to estate planning to considering your estate plans when you have pets, to how do I consider how my children are included in my estate? All of those real questions that you might ask as you go through this process. Some great resources available on our website. There's also some online calculators that you can play around with if you're a numbers person and you'd like to see for yourself how these things work out. Some great calculators and more on there. You'll also find in-depth information on each of these types of gifts that I've talked about tonight, in addition to some other types of gifts, sample scenarios, and a lot of great donor and student stories that may aid in your decision making. Okay. So that wraps up all of the content that I have prepared for you all tonight. I am going to stop my share here and see if we've had any questions come through, and it looks like we have. So the first question that we have is, how can a planned gift help support one's reunion class gift? And we're going to answer that live. Emily, I see that you joined us for the call. Is that a question that you feel comfortable chiming in and answering for us? And introduce yourself, please.
Of course. Hi, my name is Emily Henkel, and I work in the Office of Annual Giving. And I also oversee reunion and work with some classes as well, the 50th, 25th, 30th, and the 35th. So whoever I asked this question, but Jamie had already previously mentioned this, but if a planned gift is made, either through a bequest or estate, that is counted at your reunion starting at the 40th. So prior to the 40th, if anybody is celebrating their 30th or their 35th, that will not count in total reunion class gift until you reach your 40th. And then each year from there, in 5-year increments, we celebrate any new gifts that come in. And then, as Jamie previously mentioned, at your 50th, we celebrate all planned gifts, even if we've already celebrated them at a previous reunion. Anything that comes in via stock, IRA, QCD, things that Jamie already went over, also count towards your reunion class gift. If you've given anything to the college, it will all be celebrated at one time or another, and then again at your 50th, always. So it's a really great way. If an outright cash gift or a pledge doesn't make sense for you, this is a really great way to also celebrate a milestone reunion, and also increase your class gift. So, and your impact.
Great. Thanks, Emily. That's great. And thanks for reminding me to include some of that information tonight while folks are joining us. So we had another, not really a question, but a nice comment from Martin. I think that is important for everyone to hear. So given the current national situation, any of these types of giving are very important. You can name a scholarship after your family, which is a nice legacy gift. There's so many different ways that you can structure and designate your fund. So whether that's here at Davidson or another organization, we know that you all were groomed to lead and serve, and philanthropy is important to many of you. And so whether that's Davidson or another nonprofit organization, a legacy gift is going to be one of the most meaningful gifts that you can give to an organization. And we see them in all sizes. So please do not think that a legacy, a planned gift has to be $100,000 or $1 million. Every gift matters, right? Whether it's outright or planned gift, but we often will see maybe it's $1,000 included in your will. Maybe it's $2,500 of an insurance policy. Whatever type of gift, that legacy gift is meaningful, and it's truly an inspiration to all of us here at Davidson when you consider this form of giving. Another question that I've had is there a minimum age for estate gifts to be counted on your record? So if you are kind of keeping up with kind of how you are recognized as a donor, I know we have some folks who just really strive to be a NAILTRA level donor each year. With estate gifts, typically we start counting those gifts at the age of 60. We welcome information. If you are under the age of 60, we will document and keep record of that so that we can continue to steward you, and we can continue discussions until you reach the age of 60, when we will actually count your gift as a new gift. So that age of 60 is kind of when we start counting. I've had this question before, and I didn't include this in the presentation, but we also like to know if you are just making Davidson a contingent of your will, a contingent beneficiary. So let's say you have other provisions. Perhaps you designate that your spouse and children would be the first to receive gifts from your estate. But in the case that they are no longer living, Davidson would be the recipient. That's a contingency gift, and we welcome the opportunity to know about those types of bequests as well. So please let us know. And please, we understand that not everybody feels comfortable sharing this information. You might want to say, hey, yes, Davidson's in my estate, but I'm not comfortable giving dollar amounts at this point. And that's understandable, and we will respect that. So any information that you're willing to share with us, if this is a direction you decide to go in, is welcome, and we'll take what we can get, right? So that's it for questions in the box. I'll give a few more seconds just to see if there's anything left that pops up. Anyone want to unmute and throw out another question? No, I think we're good. I did the count to 7 in my head, which I don't know where I learned that, but thank you all again for joining. I hope you found this information helpful. Nonetheless, if you just walk away knowing that we have some great resources out there for you to access when the time is right. JJ and Virginia, again, my personal thanks to you for joining us this evening. And Judith, I will turn it over to you to close us out.
Yes, thank you so very much, Jamie and JJ and Virginia, for taking the time to speak with all of us tonight. Lots of great information and things to process. I am like you, Jamie. I often think of questions after the fact, or maybe your students thought of the questions after the fact. So a follow-up email will be sent with contact information for how to reach Jamie. I know she shared that, but just we'll have that in an email for you, as well as a link to the website with more information. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Note that this event was recorded, and so it will be available on the website, and we'll also share that link. And so certainly if you know others that are looking for all this great information, we absolutely hope that you'll share this link out for all to take advantage of the great information that's been shared. And just really want to thank everyone who spent the time with us and dialed in this evening, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.